What's up guys and welcome back. You know the drill, it's Wednesday, so we're talking Bitcoin and Ethereum. A huge welcome to all you new viewers out there. If you're liking the breakdown, think about hitting that subscribe button to join the team. And hey, if you haven't already, activate that notification bell because I'm here with new videos every single day. And now guys, let's dive into the charts. Right guys, so full focus on the smaller time frames for today. But yeah guys, a massive spot here for the entire market currently. We can see that something pretty ugly brewing in the Bitcoin charts if we don't break the key area of interest that we're currently trading below right now. We looked at it in the last few days and weeks here that there's a potential head and shoulder pattern forming on the daily chart, and on those time frames that could take Bitcoin down to lower price targets in the mid 90 to the high 80k range. Now, of course, that is still right here. We have not invalidated the pattern yet. So that's still a possibility that that could actually be confirmed in the coming days here. And we'll get into that in a second. But now let's first look here from a confirmation perspective, what the key level here is to break to the upside and to the downside for decisive moves. We can see here I made some adjustments to the area. So we also have the ones marked out from the larger time frames to see where the main resistance comes from. And here we can see very clearly that that's a weekly area of interest, basically connecting all the tops here from the current bull market. And there we have the 108k top, the 109k top, and then the current 112k top. So that's the key range. But the key pivot point here, of course, in this local downtrend, if we look at it from this perspective, we can see here we put in a high, a low, and then a lower high followed by a lower low. So to break this structure, of course, we want to get back above here right about $109,400 to break the structure and to confirm that we're going back up to test the current all-time high. And if we do that, then of course that starts to look very bullish. And then that also looks like we confirmed a bottom or a higher low on the larger time frames. So if we go over into the 3-day chart there, we can see it that from a structure perspective, we can see that that's basically a straight line up. And this here then would be a printed low within the structure. And then to confirm that low, of course, we need to break the prior high. So we need to close right above $109,700 here on a 3-day closing basis. So a very similar number to the pivot point that we have here to break the structure on the daily chart. And then to the downside, of course, we need to hold this range here to continue in this trend. There's the head and shoulder pattern that comes into play, right? So let's look at this again. We looked at it here in the last video more specifically and drew up the shoulder pattern. But here we can see it very clearly now. Here we putting in the left shoulder, right? We're focusing on the bodies here. Then we put in the head. Now the head came back down here. And then we see here that we're now working on confirming the right shoulder. So by the time we come down here to this area, $103,900, then this head and shoulder pattern is confirmed. And then if we see daily closes below $103,000 here, then it's very, very clear that Bitcoin is going down to lower price targets here, very likely in this range first between 99 and 98k, where we have extremely strong support in the form of the 50-day SMA, the 38.2 on the Fibonacci retracement from this entire uptrend here, and also this key area of interest here, which you can see we can track back all the way to November 2024, where we had major resistance support ever since, right? So very key area here between 99 and 98k. And then the key indicator below there to confirm whether we are in an uptrend or downtrend always is the 200 moving average. And that's sitting right below there, right around $95,000. So these are the two key support areas here. And to be honest, if we start going down there, then it starts to look very much like we're going here to see a much longer consolidation, at least until Q4 of 2025. So really the line in the sand here is now to either confirm this head and shoulder pattern, which then of course would lead us to much longer consolidation, or then of course the bullish option is here to invalidate this right shoulder now and to break the structure here by getting back above $109,500 and to confirm then this low on the intermediate to upper end on the higher time frames. So really, really tight spot here for Bitcoin right now. Now let's go into the smallest time frame for today, into the 4-hourly chart as well. And there we can see something that we've been speaking about here for weeks now, this key moving average, right? The 50 EMA, you can see it on the top as well marked, that it's the orange one. And there we just had another rejection here. So all the green circles basically mark here throughout this entire range where we got support. And there we can see that it has really been the lifeline here for Bitcoin on the 4-hourly chart as far as support goes, right? And now, of course, massive support then usually turns into resistance. Yesterday, we spoke about that we need a confirmed break above there, which means we need to follow up with another bullish candle or at least get a reaction of a retest of the moving average. But we failed to do so here on a couple of occasions now. can see up here was the first time. That's when I posted on X as well that we had the first major loss of the 50 EMA here. And then hey, we tried to reclaim it, got rejected immediately. Here we got a rejection right underneath. And then yesterday, once again, tried to get above it, tried to get the retest, but then fell below it again and are now trading below the 50 EMA here. So that is a very, very massive area here. You can see this is the key area of interest also coming from the daily chart that we, of course, want to reclaim. And there we can see a cluster of resistance here on the 4-hourly chart. So not only the 50 EMA, but also the 38.2 on the Fibonacci retracement sitting right above there. So that a key level that we want to reclaim. So this whole area here, massive resistance. And in the midst of it, we can see here this diagonal or this dynamic resistance line here coming here from the symmetrical triangle, right? So really, really strong resistance, even if we get back above the moving average now and reclaim the 38.2. The key area to break here, of course, to break the structure of this downtrend as well on the 4-hourly chart is to get back above the pivot point, above the previous significant high in the downtrend, which is right at 108,750 bucks here and lays in perfect alignment with the 61.8 and this key area of interest here where you saw that we had massive support and resistance throughout the entire range. So 4-hourly closes above would get Bitcoin back out of trouble here on the smaller time frames. And then, of course, that needs to be confirmed by getting those closes as well on the daily chart that we just looked at now. And then as far as support goes, guys, we have a very clear pivot point down here where we can see that Bitcoin has also been setting up for a head and shoulder pattern here on the 4-hourly chart, right? We can see a low here, then the left shoulder, the head, and then the right shoulder got invalidated by this candle here. And therefore down here, the neckline right off that head and shoulder pattern are the two significant lows on a closing basis here on the 4-hourly chart, right at $104,000. And that, of course, here is coming also from a key area of interest that we can track back here. And then in alignment also the dynamic support line here of the symmetrical triangle, right? And just below there, the 200 EMA on the 4-hourly chart here, massive support. So ideally, if we see a move downwards there, we want to see a wick towards the 200 EMA, but then an immediate close here back above $104,000. Otherwise, that will easily drift over into the larger time frames. And then we can see Bitcoin drop down to the levels between $102,000 and $101,000. And then if we start seeing daily closes in that area, then we have confirmed that head and shoulder pattern, and then it's very likely that Bitcoin is going down to the high 90K levels where we saw that there's massive support in the 98K area, and then likely continues to go down to 95K, and eventually we see there's massive support on the larger time frames, somewhere in the high 80K area around $88,000. So yeah, guys, we're in a really decisive spot here for Bitcoin as far as the short and midterm goes. For the long term, I'm still biased towards a continuation of the bull market and that we see higher price targets. But of course, the summer now comes into play. We all know about the summer hole. That is something that's very real, not only for Bitcoin, but for stock markets too. And therefore, that is a very possible scenario here now that Bitcoin finds a rejection and starts consolidating for a couple of months here before we then see a continuation of the bull market. Now, guys, of course, Ethereum depends massively on what Bitcoin is doing as well. We can see here actually that Ethereum has been consolidating in a very bullish manner here, holding this sideways range here. We can see it on the daily chart, coming off this key support level right between 2,400 and 2,500 bucks here, multiple times, basically since putting in the high here of 2,700 bucks early in May. And then you can see here a bunch of rejections in this key area of interest here, right between 2,700 and 2,800 bucks. You can see here from a Fibonacci retracement perspective where we retrace the entire downtrend, we're trading right between the 38.2 and the 50. So we need to clear this area here and also this significant high here. So we really want to see a daily close from Ethereum above 2,830 bucks roughly, and that would give us a green light then here for a continuation towards $3,000 and $3,200 here, where we can see this key area of interest here, massive support and resistance that we can track back all the way till March 2024 here, and where we also see the 61.8, which of course has a massive hit rate after breaking through the 38.2, which of course we have already done. So this is a make or break moment here for Ethereum. If we find another rejection here at 2,700 bucks, then it's likely that we see a deeper consolidation here. That is then likely also triggered by a rejection and a pullback from Bitcoin. And then we got to look down here again, of course, that key area where we identified the breakout here out of this structure by taking out this significant high here. And there we see the 61.8 from this swing low to the current high here. And this key area of interest here, right around 2,100 bucks. So really, really tight spot for Ethereum right now. And we really need to see a move towards $3,000 now. Otherwise, it becomes pretty ugly. And then we can see something very similar to Bitcoin, a deeper correction and consolidation here throughout the summer. Right guys, so now let's wrap it up over on the ETH BTC chart and see what's going on there. And that looks very, very similar. We're right between the key breakout level here, still holding the 38.2, where we, of course, retrace the swing low to the current high here. And there we're getting massive support right between the 38.2 and the 50 in alignment with this key area of interest. So if we start seeing here daily closes below 0.23 roughly, then we can see a deep correction here for ETH BTC as well, basically coming back down here to at least 0.02. And then the same thing here to the upside in the next couple of days after penetrating this resistance level here and putting in a lower high. We need to see a break here of the lower high on a closing basis right at 0.025. And then, of course, of the overall range high here, 0.257. And then we have a green light here for ETH BTC to continue upwards towards 0.03 here, which, of course, then is the next key area of interest. So guys, a really, really tough spot here and a really decisive spot for Bitcoin, Ethereum and the entire crypto market. And we really want to see those levels above cracked now. And also that ugly head and shoulder pattern that is forming on the Bitcoin chart to be invalidated with a move towards 108 and 109K at least. And then we are out of the woods or out of the danger zone again. And we can expect some more upside for Bitcoin after that. Otherwise, this starts looking like more pullback and a consolidation here, at least throughout the summer. All right, that's a wrap for today's Bitcoin and Ethereum analysis. What are your thoughts? Drop them in the comments down below. Let's get the discussion going. And hey, if you haven't already, make sure you're subscribed and smash that notification bell to catch every single one of my updates. And to stay up to date with my full analysis and with everything that I do within the crypto space, join me over next. I'm Pat Does Crypto over there. If anything major breaks, you'll hear it there first. Tomorrow I'm back with Trending Thursday, where of course we look at Bitcoin again, but also the top 3 performing tokens of the day. So don't miss out. And as always guys, happy trading and see you soon.